Hi, this is Lee Thurburn again, and I'd like to take just a moment and talk to you about the kinds of things that you can do to help improve the sale ability of your home. Now, there are a number of things, and a lot of this is not rocket science, but I've prepared a list of the things that are the primary things that you should consider doing to help get the maximum sale price, value, and the number of contracts. And so the things that you can do to help sell your home, and this is a conversation I have with a lot of people. The things that you can do to sell your home, I can break them down into interior and exterior. So, from an exterior perspective, once you realize you're going to put your house up for sale, you want to make sure that starting a couple of months in advance that you start working on the yard. The yard is the first thing that people are going to see, the yard and the exterior of the house. And so you really want to maximize the curb appeal. Now, generally speaking, if your yard is already in great condition, you don't need to do some of this. But if it's not, I recommend that you fertilize the yard starting about 2 months ahead of when you're thinking about putting it on the market. Make sure that you apply plenty of water if it happens to be during the summertime. Go ahead and stretch the watering guidelines of whatever community that you're in because you want your yard to be nice and green and healthy. You want to be sure and trim your plants, both the bushes near the house as well as any trees. Generally speaking, if the trees are at all mature, you want to have them about head height so that somebody can walk under the tree without having to duck for branches. So trim them back to make it easy for people to see the house from the curb. The bushes near the house, if you don't have any, you might want to think about putting some bushes in because they always dress a house up. But if they're overgrown, you want to cut them back a little bit so that you can see the house. Generally, for most things, under the windows is a good idea, but every house is a little different, so you need to use some discretion regarding that. On a regular basis, at least weekly during the showing period, you want to mow and edge the lawn every week. And be sure that, again, prior to this is starting a couple of months out, that any dead plants, you replace them. If there are dead patches of grass, go ahead and address those, maybe bring in some sod and replace them. Now, regarding the exterior of the house itself, there's really two main things that you need to focus on. First is paint. If the house is a little on the old and the paint is a little on the faded side, you can get a significant bump in the curb appeal by either painting the trim or painting the woodwork or the siding if that's an appropriate thing. A lot of houses have brick and stone, so that's not really necessary, but trim work might need to be freshened up. If your house is a little on the older side, you definitely want to pay attention to any brickwork, stonework, walls, fences. If the fence is looking a little dilapidated, maybe replace some boards. It might be important to do a little bit of work on the fence. If it just needs a fresh coat of stain, you might want to stain the fence. But these are things that make the house look much more better maintained, and they're little things, but people definitely notice this. Now, on the inside of the house, there are some specific things that you want to do. And I think of this as the looks good, smells good, easy to imagine living in. From a looks good perspective, when people come in the house, now first impressions are extremely important. Um, so we're gonna mention first impressions, and the first impressions are actually in the smells good sort of category. Now, obviously, if somebody walks in and they see dirty rugs and dirty floors and that kind of thing, that's not going to be a visually very powerful first impression. But the most important first impression that most people have is the smell of the house. And so you want to make sure that olfactory wise, when people walk into your house, the first smell that they have is one that elicits a very positive image of the house. You want it to smell like it's clean, like it's well maintained, like they can see themselves living there. And so, first, having a clean house gets rid of a lot of odors, but also you can do little things like if you have wood floors, be sure and clean the floors with Pine Sol. If you have woodwork in the house, wood railings on the stairs, that sort of thing, put some pledge on the woodwork, freshen it up on every weekend when you're going to have showing, or if you know that the showing is going to occur, get out the pledge, get out the pine saw, put a little bit down, because that smell of pledge and pine saw, that gives people the smell that people gives them the impression that the house is clean and it's well maintained. Another very powerful smell is the smell of fresh paint. Now, you don't need to paint the entire house. What I would recommend is that you find a wall relatively close to the entry and you paint that wall, and then keep some of that paint close by, and then every week paint a little spot, maybe behind a piece of furniture or something like that. You don't want it to look wet when people come in, but the smell of fresh paint is one of the most powerful smell indicators that tell people that the house is well maintained. And so if you have just a little 1 foot square piece of the wall that's freshly painted, maybe hidden behind um, um, bookcase or some sort of piece of furniture, that's going to refresh the smell of freshly painted, so that when people come in, they're going to be hit with that, and they're going to be impressed with the fact that the house is very well maintained. Another thing that you can do is to keep some sugar cookie odor spritz. This is something you can spray in the kitchen when you leave for a showing. Spritz a little bit of that so that the house smells like you just baked some sugar cookies. Everybody loves sugar cookies. If you have pets, you want to be particularly careful about pet odors. Dogs and cats both, as well as other animals, often have odors. And what my recommendation would be that you remove the animals. If you're going to have a showing on a series of showings on a Saturday or a Sunday, take the animals to an overnight pet stay, or take them to a friend's, a relative's, a neighbor's house. Just get the animals out of the house and make sure that if there's a litter box in the house, that it's completely clean and the area is deodorized. Very few things will put people off more than having the smell of, pets and pet odors in the house. Generally speaking, if you can have your pets out of the house when the showings are going to be happening, so that people don't have to contend with either dogs or cats or anything else, that is by far and away the best thing that you can do. Also related to smells, there are certain kinds of cooking smells that linger, and you want to be very aware and careful that what you think smells good, other people, it puts them off. So if you cook with a lot of fish, or if you use a lot of garlic or curry or those kinds of things that leave a lingering smell in and around the house and the kitchen, avoid cooking with those things, especially the weekend of the couple of days ahead of when your first big weekend of showings, when your list the house comes up. Now, regarding looks good, so all of that was in the smells good. Make sure that you've cleaned the house, that the bathrooms are clean, that the carpets and rugs are cleaned, and have a professional come in, and don't use a lot of deodorants, because they can actually smell, and they can leave the carpets and the rugs feeling a little crusty when they dry. Make sure your windows are clean. Make sure the garage is clean. And when it comes to clean, the next thing is sort of in the range of cleaning. This is easy to imagine living in. So when people come into a house, you want them to be easily able to imagine themselves living there. And some of the things that really can detract from people being able to easily see themselves living in your home, which is what you want, are family photos, a lot of pictures, a lot of knickknacks. First of all, a few family photos are fine, but if you have more than a half dozen spread out throughout your house, I would recommend just fold them up, put them in a box, get them out of the house, or at least put them away, so that they're not walking into somebody else's family. They can actually imagine their own family and family photos put up. In fact, I would really recommend that you just take down all family photos and family memorabilia. Now, knickknacks, all of the stuff that you've collected throughout your life that you're so tickled and proud to see in your house, quite honestly, most people are just going to look at that as junk and clutter. And that's not going to make them feel at home. So I'm going to recommend that you go get yourself a storage unit and that you remove, just go ahead and box up most of your knickknacks. Box up all the stuff that would look like clutter in the house. Get it out of the house. Also, remove excess furniture. You actually want a sort of minimalist effect, almost like a Scandinavian sort of minimalist, or that sort of thing. You don't want to show off all the wonderful pieces of furniture that you've collected over the years. Now, have enough furniture for the house to feel like it's lived in, but also remove enough furniture so that the house feels like there's lots of room for extra stuff. People have amazingly difficult times imagining their own furniture overlaid when a house is filled with lots of chairs and stools and side tables and shelving units, and just the house is a lifetime's worth of memories are set out for you to see. That's great, but that's not going to help you sell your house. So go ahead and get a storage unit, move some of your excess furniture out. Also go through your closets and go through the garage and get rid of anything that you don't need to have. You would like to have your closets about 3/4 full. In other words, when somebody walks into a closet, you want there to be enough hanging space and floor space and shelf space to where it's easy to see additional things being put in. The less there is in your closets, the larger your closets are going to look. So I highly recommend that you get a storage unit, you move excess furniture out, you move knickknacks out, you clean out your garage, and you clean out your closets so that every single closet, it looks like it's 1/2 to 3/4 full, so that it looks like there's lots of room. Even though you're living in the house, it looks like the house has got plenty of storage and plenty of space. So if you do these things, you're going to find that your home is going to show much better. You're going to get more offers, and you're going to get higher priced offers on your house. This is a good list. There are other things, but I think this is a good starting point. So I hope this helps you in the preparation of your house to maximize the sale value and the number of contracts that you receive. Thanks for watching.